Hello everyone, this is No Bullshit Podcast, two and a half guy, fuck's sake. This is No Bullshit Podcast, 2.5 gamers, session number 36. We're sharing actionable insights, dropping knowledge from our day-to-day user acquisition, game design and ad monetization jobs, but also discussing the latest industry news from time to time while having so much fun. So let's not forget, this is 4 a.m. conference discussion vibe, so let's not take it too seriously. Today, before I talk about our guests, we have Google AdROAS campaigns, a reminder, ad monetization educational segment from Felix, and Jakub is going to talk about Survivor.io update. So today we have Felix Braberg, Jakub Remiar, and myself, Matej Lančarič. Again, how are you? A long time no see.
Hello there.
Yeah, super long time no see, right?
Yeah. It's my two favorite friends from the industry, and then it's you guys.
Oh, I'm blushing. I'm blushing.
Yeah, well, we're spending so much time with each other. It's annoying from time to time, right?
If we would not be having this, we would be spending no time together if we don't have
That's
the
true,
podcast,
yeah,
even though we live in the same city.
That's very true. But yeah, I don't want to spend time with you face to face. This is enough. This is enough. So yeah, what's up? Well, you're going to COVID Casa in the near future, Jakub, right?
Yeah, we're doing the usual family gathering before the Old Saints Day when the whole country pretty much gets on the road. So we do it before and
But it's like at the end
get
of the
over
month.
with. Yeah, but at the end of the month, the whole country gets there. So
Okay,
we
that's
want to kind of, skip the traffic.
Ooh, all right.
Is All Saints Day a big thing in Slovakia?
It is. It
Yes.
is. Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Everybody goes crazy.
Last year they wanted to cancel it because of Corona, so everybody would get Corona. So
Yeah, and also like they said, no. Well, you shouldn't be gathering with your family from like Thursday to Monday, so everybody left on Wednesday.
I love it.
Yeah, it's
people
like,
were not permitted to leave their county between the counties. Yeah.
Well, like if you do it from Thursday, everybody leaves on Tuesday or
Man,
Wednesday.
it's crazy to remember like where we were a year ago. Like everything in like Berlin was shut down. Like I forget it so quickly, but yeah, last year sucked.
Oh no, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Exactly.
It's amazing. I didn't even to have like meet people actually. And also like didn't have to meet with the family as well. Sometimes that's annoying as well. Now I have a kid, so I have like more excuses. No, but can you believe can you believe it's like she's almost 1 year old? I mean, it's time flies. Fuck my life.
Should we move on to our little topics?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, I can start. I can start with the Google AdROAS campaigns, and I think we discussed it like millions of times before. But if your game is monetized by ads, reach out to your Google representative or ping me. I can share guidelines about AdROAS based DROAS campaigns. So Google made that announcement a while ago. I think it was middle of the last year. And originally these type of campaigns were meant for AdMob only. But thanks to the peer pressure, which is a pure speculation, you can run these AdROAS or ad-based DROAS campaigns with other mediations. Thank God. And it works like a charm. So let's push your Google reps or your UA people to get it on ASAP. So
I wonder what's prompting this, like that Google is opening up and letting like being more open when historically they've been like one of the most closed ecosystems with these type of things, like with bidding on ad monetization side and now with this.
I know, right? I mean, but it's amazing because this type of campaign works really, really well. And I'm bringing this up again because I had a conversation with my former colleagues in April about this type of campaigns. So after 4 months of the pure, bureaucracy bullshit in the bigger company, they were able to launch the campaigns in August. And thanks to some shenanigans with their Google representatives, they were able to launch in August. And immediately these campaigns were performing the best of all campaigns they are running at the moment. So even if you have like 50-50, well, if you have 50-50 split in-apps versus apps, ads,
IAPs.
IIPs versus ads. Sorry, I can't speak properly today. Then get it live. Even if you have like 30% ads and 70% in-apps, it's still worth the try. As we discussed in the last sessions, it's not gonna be like a huge scale, but even if you can get like a couple of hundreds or maybe thousand a day out there, uh, it's yeah, that money can get back pretty quickly because this conversion window is shorter. So you're basically optimizing or 3 or 7 day window, which is preferred. And this window should reflect enough time to capture 90% of this like conversions and conversion value that is happening. Usually on the campaign level, you need to wait 2 or 3 cycles. So basically, two depends on what kind of window you have. It's either 6, 9 days, or 2 weeks or 3 weeks to fairly evaluate the campaign. On the other hand, like general higher data volume is required for TROAS bidding. So you need to get enough data to be able to judge properly if you are getting good or bad numbers. I usually do 3 days conversion window for AdROAS campaigns and 7 day conversion window for in-apps TROAS campaigns. But with some recent experiments, even 7 days attribution window for AdROAS campaigns work really well. So you have 7 days for collecting the data, and then the algorithm is going to optimize for these conversions and values. So what you need to do is set realistic TROAS target. So like if you want to achieve 100% in 7 days, it's not gonna work, most probably. Remember, this is the TROAS target or AdROAS target is basically a lever for the budget spent. So always when you want to spend more or less or get more quality, you tinker with this bidding. So whatever you achieved, yeah, just 1 second, Felix. Whatever you achieved in terms of the ROAS for the like comparable campaigns, this should be the starting point for the TROAS bid. Ideally, you bid 10 or 20% lower. Go, Felix.
So, blunt question.
Yeah.
TROAS, what does the T stand for?
Target ROAS. Target ROAS.
Why can't you say ROAS then?
Well, because it's target ROAS.
All right.
It's basically like value optimization or value optimized campaign. I'm not sure, Jakub, why you're laughing.
I'm not laughing. I'm just listening.
Not laughing. Of course you are. Like, well,
I'll be the first to say it. I've never run a UA campaign in my entire life.
Well, I don't think Jakub did either.
I did like the basic clicking setup. Just didn't push the button.
Did you know his target ROAS?
No.
They don't laugh at me.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So then there's like some campaign optimization and setup tips. Well, I don't want to say tips because you're just gonna make fun of me again.
Don't panic, Maciej. Don't panic.
Okay. Not yet.
Not yet. Not even. Okay. So if your campaign has almost no traffic, which is what I mentioned just now, check your TROAS bid. A high ROAS target could cause a longer initial ramp up period. So I usually set a lower target ROAS bid and take it from there to get at least like some level of traffic. So if you are aiming for 50% on day 7, put 20 or 30% into the campaign. Then you can gradually increase the target ROAS as the campaign stabilizes to achieve better ROI, of course. Make only small incremental adjustments, 10 to 20% to avoid like volatility of the campaign. I usually do 20% each, every other day, and I do this like kind of like a hamburger approach. I increase budget, then I increase bid, then I increase budget again, then I increase bid. So I try to change these optimization tactics, and then in the between I add also new creatives. So hamburger approach plus new creatives, because new
How
creatives.
do you know then like the optimization is working instead of the creative?
What? Well, you have creative level data, so what do you mean?
Like you said, you're changing creatives in between.
No, I add new creatives in between.
Add new creatives. Okay.
Add new creatives between, yeah. And even if I change the creatives, I usually get rid of the ones that are not performing well or not getting any traffic. So as soon as I add new creatives or replace the underperforming ones, I see the performance
Okay.
right away. So that's like the update on the AdROAS campaigns. Please start as soon as you can. It's definitely interesting type of campaign. And then there's one other thing which got a lot of attention on my blog, and I quote, "Nobody cares about TCPS or its target CPA, event optimized campaigns anymore. Don't use proxy events or predictive purchase events. It's bullshit. It's good on paper, shit in reality." So I am getting so actually somebody reads my blog. That's amazing. Thank you very much for doing that. uh, I got into a lot of troubles with writing these things, but there's the one that I mentioned before in the newsletter as well, which is the proxy events. So when you're trying the proxy events, it makes sense on the paper, but in reality it's kind of works differently because of the algorithms. On the proxy events, for you, Felix, especially, what does it mean? Uh, so you have
Let's have a
purchase.
segment called the blonde question segment.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So you have purchase, and then you have some events that happened before that led to actually purchase. So, for example, players that achieved level 45 and then had 50 matches on the PvP side made a purchase. So then the hypothesis is, if you optimize for level 45 or whatever I mentioned, those players will also make purchase afterwards, but will be cheaper because nobody optimizes for this type of events. But how the algorithm works, if you optimize for level 45, you will get players that achieve or trigger level 45 but don't necessarily pay afterwards, because it's a different type of players. So I mean, it's definitely worth a test. It's a good exercise. So like, it's not, you are not relying on something that I said on the podcast, but you actually get some data to back this opinion. But what I think is more important, it's worth trying even more, is merging these events, which means you merge proxy plus purchase into one event. So people usually do this with like subscription apps. They merge free trial with some other in-app event. For example, I wrote an article on day one, if it's app that helps you with writing articles. So when a player finishes this proxy event and make purchase, we will fire this event, and let's call this event Mate. So then you will optimize for Mate event, which combines both values, which gives algorithms a better signals. Um, that's something you can try. Or there's one other thing which is in Firebase. Not sure if it's in beta or it's out live yet, and it's called predictive events, and you can also optimize for these events in Google Ads. So you can try that as an like alternative to proxy events, and you will see it's not working. It's not working at all.
Remo, do you ever get a feeling that like UA is like the bad boy component of our industry? Like they have all these cool words like proxy event, TROAS, hamburger bidding model.
It's a
No, no, no,
hamburger
no, no,
bit.
no.
That's what I called
It's just that
optimization.
I don't think so. Like I have also a lot of fancy new words that I just don't use because Mr. Design Vector is allergic to them.
No, no, no. Use it. Come on, use it. It's fine. I will learn something new. I'm not allergic. Always keen to learn new things. So
Of
please
course.
bring more vectors and design bullshit into the discussion.
I just have a question, right? So, from my understanding, these AdROAS campaigns, right? You're optimizing to buy users that pay back just by looking at ads, right? So they're
Yeah.
not supposed to buy IPs.
Well, they're not supposed to, but they usually do that as well.
Oh, okay. So just typically, like I'm assuming it's mostly rewarded video like games that you work with, right? Like how many impressions usually is like the sweet spot where you see these campaigns actually like scaling up quite a lot?
It's not about the impressions on the
I mean, like
videos.
more impressions
It
mean more money, right?
Sure, okay, sure. But I usually look at the split between the in-apps versus ads. I'm not looking at the impressions.
Oh, okay.
So let's see, anything from 30% and above in terms of the split can scale. 50-50 is the ideal scenario.
There are not many games like that.
I know, but I have like this luxury of working with a couple of them.
Hmm.
But like you can do crazy shit with 20-30% ads as well. It's fine.
Yeah, it depends also on absolute values. If your 20
Yeah.
30% means few millions, then we're talking something pretty big.
Sure, of course. If 20-30% is $200, then doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
that's the thing.
I keep saying it, guys, and you guys won't listen. Ads are the most beautiful thing ever.
It's definitely nice. I'm fine with it. Let's go
Cool.
that way.
Should we go on to the Admon topic, or do we
Well,
want to
it's
go
the most
straight into
beautiful thing
Survivor?
in the world. So yeah, just
Yeah, it's
go
the most
on.
beautiful thing in the world. All right.
Well, wait.
So,
Stop shaking your head. What the fuck?
Not shaking my head.
come here, Remo.
Let's
Give me a hug.
continue.
Come here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
you should have the happy October as we discussed
Yeah,
last time.
exactly.
What's
All
happy
right.
October?
So I think my educational segment is gonna cheer you up, Remo, because it finishes with a lol, and lols always
Great.
make you smile. So today I want to talk about exchanges and their growing role in mobile ad monetization, and in particular how you can use them to increase your ad revenue on the lower end of your ad stack. So if you're listening to this and you're currently mediating with Max or IronSource, I'm sure that you've seen AppLovin Exchange or IronSource Exchange in your stack. Why am I sure you've seen this? It's because it's forced on by the mediation platforms, and they switch it on automatically when you add an app. So, like, you physically can't switch off these exchanges without the help of an account manager, which takes more than a smile. So, you might also have noticed that ALX, AppLovin Exchange, or IronSource Exchange typically fill like somewhere in between the $1 to $10 ECPM range. And the interesting thing is that these exchanges are typically never in your top 3 ad partners by share of revenue, but by impressions, they're typically one or the third or like the second biggest by impression. So, if you don't know, these exchanges are actually just amalgamations of a group of DSPs. So, Iron Source Exchange has 49 DSPs that they work with. ALX, I'm not sure, but it's around that number, if not even higher. And the interesting thing that I've noticed is that after the main like mediation platforms started to make their own exchanges mandatory, it has really presented a nice new avenue for us publishers to force competition and earn even more ad revenue. So when you're optimizing your waterfalls or ad revenue or whatever you want to call it, you're always kind of optimizing on two levels, the micro and the macro. So the micro is like the normal, boring, moving around placements, like up, down, changing ad mob calls up and down in different geos. And then optimizing on the macro level is pretty much like matching demand sources that are similar to compete, so they push up your ad revenue. Typically here, what I mean is that you're like matching, let's say, AppLovin versus AdMob versus IronSource. You integrate those network and you have them compete because they have similar type of inventory. So since these exchanges are now forced on like both IronSource and AppLovin, and they have been forced for close to like a year. Like I think AppLovin Exchange's MoPub exchange after they bought it. So this means that you now, as a publisher, have now kind of been forced to add a new source to kind of compete against these new sources, basically on your low value inventory. And this has benefited one player uniquely in our industry, and that's DT Exchange. So, like DT Exchange is also an amalgamation of like DSP inventory, and DT Exchange has been rebranded, and it used to be Fiber.
Ah, okay.
So Fiber had as we know, had a couple of rocky years, like 3 or 4 years ago. But now, since the mediations are forcing their own exchanges on us publishers, they've like suddenly, like overnight, become very, very relevant again. So if you think of your like waterfall in IronSource or Max, you have like the premium networks competing for the top and the mid parts of the waterfall. And then the exchange takes up always the bottom part of the waterfall. So if you're not adding a competing partner to compete either with ALX or IronSource Exchange, like you're kind of losing out on a lot of your impressions because like that portion of the waterfall is just unchallenged. So I've seen it happen, and I've added like digital turbine on both of these like mediations, and I typically see my low quality inventory jump, like in terms of the revenue I'm getting for it, by like anywhere between 12 to 20% by adding another exchange here. So, Remo, here comes a little lull moment for you. So, yeah, cheer up, Buttercup. Okay, so I dug a little deeper here, and a funny little quirk popped up. I looked in the last days on the earnings by DSP. So basically, I looked into the inventory that I'm getting from ALX, Iron Source Exchange, and I compared it to the inventory I'm getting from DT Exchange. See here if you two notice something funny. So keep in mind that ALX never competes with Iron Source Exchange, but basically they compete with Digital Turbine, right? So ALX, last 30 days, top 5 DSPs. DSP number 1, Maloko. 2, Liftoff. 3, Twitter. 4, Chartboost. 5, Bigabid. Iron Source Exchange, Maloko, Liftoff, ByteDance, Trade Desk, and Chartboost. Here comes the funny part. DT Exchange, top 5 DSPs. Maloko, Liftoff, Trade Desk, Opera, and Chartboost.
So
So
it's
pretty
all same all over again.
yeah, so pretty much you're getting DSPs competing against themselves to bid up the price. It's beautiful. So like these are bidding against themselves when you add another exchange to compete. Like of course salespeople from these organizations will deny it till they die, but it's 100% happening. Like there's like definitely same campaigns that are going in because
Yeah.
it's the same games, right? To what degree they're bidding against themselves, I don't know. Do I care? No, not really. It's not my problem. It's for them to kind of figure out. But so the new top tip, if you're mediating with AppLovin or Iron Source, you have no choice anymore. You need to find a competition for their exchanges. And right now, there's pretty much only one vendor that can scratch that itch. There might be one kind of new one coming as well now with Amazon, and they have a DSP kind of component called TAM, but it's still like in closed beta, so it's not open yet. So that's my Admon top tip from this week.
So where's the tip?
Add a competing exchange to like you need to add DT exchange basically. You have no choice.
But are we talking only about the lower half of the waterfall? Yeah,
No, the lowest third, like the
lowest
lower
third.
Yeah.
Lowest third.
No, even half.
Okay, so what's the expected amount of like revenue from this lowest third? Is it like
It adds up, right? So like of course the revenue from this portion of the waterfall is the lowest in terms of revenue, right? But it's the most in terms of impressions. So it will bring up your average considerably if you improve it, right? Because it's the largest portion of what you're getting paid, right? So let's say your lower part of the waterfall or your exchange average value might be filling at $4. Maybe if you add a competing exchange against that, it will push it up to 6. And you
Okay.
know, that money every
How
day
hard
for the
is
rest,
to get the new exchange into the waterfall?
you need to add the adapter, and that's it, and set up the ad placements.
based on your implementation team?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
it's
We're
not that
back at
easy.
it.
Yeah, so it's not that easy.
Yeah,
How
this guy
hard
always
can it
smiles
be?
and everything, but then you have to go and beg programmers to actually do it. That's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Yeah, of course, I can't do it. I don't know how to program.
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah,
know how to
it's
do UA.
easy.
I can't program.
Yeah, it's easy. You just add the new adapter, and then you go to your programmers, and it's like, whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
come on,
whoa,
it's
whoa,
one
whoa,
line of
whoa,
code,
wait a
guys.
second.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I always say.
How
It's
hard
easy
can it be?
because
Yeah,
yeah,
one line
sure.
of code. Oh, everybody can do it in 5 minutes for sure.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
can't
And
believe I'm
then
getting shit about adding a line of code.
you then add line of code, and the whole game breaks.
Yeah, you then exactly like you learn one line of code and they're like community management, QA, everything is fucked, everything is blamed.
Yeah.
People are complaining on the Discord, blah blah blah.
And then
Yeah,
like,
I've seen
okay,
it.
so look, so how much money do we, adapt to this? Well, as Felix said, you can improve like
have
by
it.
12 or 20%. Oh well,
It's
but
not worth
do we
it.
care? Yeah, exactly.
Of course you
Is it
care. Yeah,
worth
of
it?
course you should care. Of course you should care.
And, like
Yeah.
if you compare the resources that you need to put into this, and then potential risks that it's
Yeah,
going to break the
exactly.
game, then it's like it's not worth it.
What?
Man, you are
course.
just playing with the levers. Somebody needs to actually create them.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
You guys have
Now
no
you-
idea what you're talking about.
Of
course we know. We've been there,
Yeah,
done
been
that.
there many times.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't listen to the Mr. Skeptic over there hugging the mic again, but it's actually true. If you know, if you can't improve the numbers heavily, then some programmers in big companies say like, well, we don't care
But
because
the
it's
thing
too
is, even
difficult.
if this improves, let's say your revenue by $100 a day, which is not a far stretch to like if you're earning, 1,500 a day in ads, right? And you add this and improves it by $100 a day, that's still, $36,500 a year, right? So, in
Yeah,
terms of dev
if you're
resources, it needs maximum half a day, right? And
sure, but if
that's how
if that
much it needs,
breaks
right?
the game, then
Like
you
you
need
run
to
that
look
risk
at the
anyway when you're
QA.
running ads anyway. You always run that risk. And like it's not like their SDK is more shoddy than the rest of them. I
Okay,
mean, all the SDKs are
let
bad.
me just ask you this question. Do you think that the more SDKs and these things you have there, the bigger the chance that something goes wrong?
Yeah,
Do you agree?
100%. But you need
See?
like okay, maybe we should take out all the maybe we should just make a Unity direct deal and just have only Unity. How about that?
Amazing.
That's possible.
Programmers would take that immediately.
Admon tip number 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, how to
Well,
ruin your ad revenue.
now you're smiling, Mr. Yakub, but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need
putting down
Felix.
others makes him happy.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Happy October.
All right,
Okay.
let's go on to your topic, Rima.
Are we going to the educational one from product side? Let me fire up here the survivors thing because yeah, as we said and we used to say a lot of times, we will kind of see and observe and see what happens. So we did observe, and let's recap the observation that happened. I guess you
Ooh,
guys didn't fire up the game for last 3 weeks anyway.
of course.
Of course not.
Of course not.
Is this the new
If
uh
book
I
Durian? You can get durians as a weapon.
No,
Yeah.
there's other things. But just want to mention because last time we were talking about extending progressions, how to manage game during live ops and after global launch, and like if anybody will return to that episode,
Okay, one thing.
mm,
Did they add any design vectors into the game?
of course.
Amazing. Please continue. In that case, this is highly relevant. This is highly
That's why
relevant
I
for
brought it
everybody.
up. Yeah,
Perfect.
because the
Love it.
things that we talk about that in that episode, they did exactly that, and I'm guessing
They're
like it's
listening.
I'm
They're
listening.
listening.
There we
of
Thank you
go.
very
course.
much, guys. No, I mean, look that the Survivor.io global launch case study is the most downloaded and played episode on our podcast to this day.
It's
So
also
I
the one that had the
guess
most wrong on, so yeah, it was great.
yeah, it's great.
Yeah, yeah.
So you're
Anyway,
right.
props to team at Hobby,
Props to
but
us, of
yeah,
course.
props to us also. But the thing is that it went pretty much as I expected. So let's start with like the biggest things that they added. Of course, they added the
Of
new
course.
layer of power on player progression, meaning that the inventory of the player was pretty much doubled. So not only now you have the six item inventory that you had before, now you had another six item which are tech parts, which work
Mm.
very similarly to the previous thing. Again,
I
they
should
go
update the game and play it again.
no shit. So you have three defensive and three offensive slots there. Again, six slots. The equipment can be again merged through the usual merging process, and it gives you more stats and also some kind of abilities that complement the current weapons. I guess this was the biggest kind of a flavor thing that was the hardest to do because I guess they added a little bit of new functionality, even though it's still parametric meaning that you are going through a pool of parameters that are affecting the current things in the game, so it doesn't require that much new functionality, but it's still somebody needs to code that whatever your Dorian can now split into six or something,
Ooh.
because that needs like new functionality. But in the end, player power is now split. As I said, like they pretty much added much more player power into it. And how do you get these tech parts? Of course, from the new game mode that we
Of
predicted will
course.
happen, which is called the daily challenge, which is for now, as I seen, the only source of these. You can get them in the carousel at the shop, but I haven't seen a chest yet or an offer that pop up to my face. So it
Mm.
seems this is kind of a progression exclusive yet to get these parts.
Yeah, not yet. They will pop this into your face during Halloween event
Yeah, probably.
anytime soon.
So there's this new mode. again, it's very, very recycled content. It's pretty much just a normal, like, seems like a normal run, but what's there is that there are modifiers based on this mode that change daily. So let's say currently in the game there's like player movement speed increases by 40%. Mobs don't flinch, I guess. They can go backwards or something if they're scared or whatever. So pretty much what happens, you have this kind of flavor mechanic that again is parametric because you're rotating a set of parameters, the things that already been used into the game, and this is the only source of the parts, which means you are using again energy, and this time it not only costs per one run 5 energy but 10 energy, so it's double than that. So currently, what we did is we extended the possible kind of a horizontal content of the game, let's say.
Horizontal content.
Yeah, because it's the same. It's the same. If it
Yeah.
would be vertical, that would be like different things happening. So currently, you just took the normal game state, the core
Yeah.
gameplay, and put it in a different context. So it's horizontal. And still, the progression kind of increased because what happened before was that people would be stuck at the current main suburb or whatever was that, the level they are in, and that's it.
Yeah,
And
that would happen to me, and then I
yeah,
just
exactly. So
quit it.
now you not only get stuck here, but you can also get stuck on daily challenge or
Amazing. Well done.
exactly.
Nice.
Well
Yeah.
done.
So, but there's more content. Good thing is that it's granular reward, meaning that if you just defeat one boss at daily challenge, you already get the reward because there are these 3 chests that you can get each for one boss. If you just blow through it all, you get all 3 at once. That's still like the problem. Probably, I would say this is a validation to the thesis that we had that the games like one session or like one run is
Mm.
just too long. That's
Yeah.
why probably they give the granular rewards now because it can get very long, and if you die at the last boss, is literally like 15 to 20 minutes wasted. So this way they can at least give you something which is, I guess, validates the thing that the game needs to kind of play a little bit with their sessioning. The other thing that they added is, of course, the returner event, I'm guessing, which is that if you log in after some time, the game starts like your specific 7-day login event and
Mm.
also daily rewards, which I have now 2 daily rewards basically. I have the
Perfect.
normal AFK arena ones that are the dailies and weeklies with like increasing points chests, and I have then like a normal like another daily rewards which are, if I understand correctly, they unlock throughout the day and for 7 days. So
Mm.
I'm guessing these are triggered only when you didn't play the game for some time, and then the game wants to keep you in a way that they're showering you with resources and extra resources. So I'm guessing if you two guys actually like move your
Yeah.
lazy ass to the game, you will get both of these.
Yeah.
So
I will. Yeah. I will tell you. I will
yeah,
tell you how it works.
exactly. Other than that, when I was going through the patch notes, it seems that they added some new kind of a perks or the skills, the thing that you can
Mm.
check during the leveling process. But yeah, didn't find anything that's kind of like super different or something like that. The other interesting thing is that also they run this typical, very cheap and easy to do template of an event where you put an event currency into the game during a specific period of time, and then you run an event shop. So it was called Autumn Leaves
Mm.
in September, and by playing the game, you would get these kind of a event currency, Autumn Leaves, and you can buy stuff from the event shop, and afterwards it would vanish away. So pretty much,
Mm.
again, what they did is again nothing new. It's just kind of a UI capacity here where you add more rewards into the game during period of time, pretty much trading your economy for engagement. Again,
Okay. That's what I
that's
would ask. Like, what would they achieve with this?
yeah, that's similar
How
playbook.
how are the metrics looking now after they changed this?
Yeah, I'll get to it. Last thing that I want to mention is that the special offer, or not special offer, like the special chest they had there with the S plus equipment that they extended. Of course, they
Yeah.
extended again. so,
No. The
so it's now
good old trick with the time limited
Be-
box.
yeah,
Mm.
exactly.
Oh,
Because of the overwhelming player feedback, we extended again
oh yeah, of
until
course.
end of October.
Because
So
yeah, we like money, and it's the most powerful revenue driver for us. So yeah, let's
probably,
extend it.
yeah. Let's see.
Oh, okay,
But
amazing.
other than that, I didn't see that much changes in the shop, rather than just the like new parts, power layer token being added into the carousel. So that's there. And regarding the metrics, the game is still going super strong, I would say. It's
Mm.
still averaging something like 1.5 million in spikes,
Yeah.
and then going to something like 1.3 million, or just in IPs. So it's of
Yeah,
course
A
yeah,
day,
much more
right?
that's
through
Yeah.
ads. Ads are very strong now.
A day, right?
Yeah,
a
yeah.
day.
A day, a
Yeah,
day, a
yeah.
day, a day. The interesting thing when I was digging through the charts that I found out is that we finally got our first retention score
Ooh.
for August,
Ooh.
and it doesn't look that good than Archero, because when I was looking at the comparison, both
Yeah.
games have around 40% day one,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but at day seven they go their separate ways, because Archero is something like 15% and Survivor Arrow is at 10%. And at day 30, Archero is 9% and Survivor.io is at 3%.
Do you think that's
Well,
because they do too long? Like the 15-minute like typical battle is a bit too long.
I guess there could be many culprits here. One of them being that the game is much more repetitive than Archero, but
yeah.
also much less harder, even I would say, because at some point you just know, and like I didn't get stuck that fast in Archero you get stuck immediately. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we remember during the first days, like everybody was just kind of rage quitting. So currently the game is much more, let's say, smooth in the beginning. The other thing is that I would say it's much more condensed fun than Archero, where you kind
Yeah.
of need to, you need to get the fun and like get to it. Here it's pretty much like in Archero you're getting pieces of cake one by one slowly with this kind of a
Yeah, this
pace.
is fun right in
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
face
this
from the
is like you
beginning.
eat the
Yeah.
whole cake the first
Yeah.
second you open it.
Nom, 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 nom,
Uh,
nom, nom.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I guess maybe there's this kind of a burnout a little bit, but for me the biggest problem is that the variety is not there, in a way that the session is still like one run is still too long. For instance, the daily challenge that they did, maybe I would do it kind of a less of a time capacity.
Hmm.
So let's say 5 minute one could be good or something like that. Like they have something similar with the daily event and the gold mine there. But yeah, the sessioning definitely would need some kind of a more, let's say, mid-tier uh, mode that you can spend your like a smaller section of time basically. And the other thing is that, yeah, I just want more variability, because it's pretty much the same thing all over again. Even the enemies, I think, could kind of take more work. But these, again, are the biggest things to code in, because you need to code like new functionality, test it out, like, put it into context and balance it around all the other enemies in the game and stuff, yada, yada, yada. So adding like new enemy properties and new enemy attributes, I guess, is like really, really hard. It's completely different, like what they did here with the tech parts, which increase the inventory size pretty much they double it, because those are just stats in Excel sheet, and the only thing in like coded there were the functionality of the parts that they of course complement the gear.
So
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we were not seeing the correct data on the like the data tools that we have.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
it's
possible.
pretty early.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
The other
basically,
interesting, sorry,
yeah.
just finishing the metrics. The other interesting part is that Archero is much more, let's say the revenue of Archero comes much more from US than the Survivor.io, where Survivor.io pretty much goes from Taiwan, China, South
Mm,
Korea, and only on fourth place is US.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I would be definitely keen on seeing like the China metrics
Yeah,
as well.
that'd be super interesting.
That would be really good.
Yeah, like China full metrics.
Full matching, of course. Yeah, yeah, 100%.
So if these retention metrics are right, which they might not be, right?
Yeah.
Like I mean, they're decent, but they're not like knock it out of the park, right? So probably what they do so well, which is why they've scaled, is they're super good at converting payers.
Yeah, and squeezing the players
Yeah,
from the beginning
yeah, exactly.
immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Because if you have this type of like day 30 retention, I mean, you
even
can't.
even day 7, 10% is kind of subpar.
Yeah, you,
yeah,
you can't optimize. Well, you can, but it's really hard to optimize campaigns more than like the to get like a day 30 ROI positivity from the campaigns. I mean, nobody stays in the game after day 30, so
yeah.
you need to really look into the short term, which may like make sense from the ads perspective. On the other hand, so yeah,
Uh,
day 7 10% doesn't sound right.
I was thinking about it. Isn't this caused by the game being kind of hyper casual and the virality factor and everything, that it kind of attracts like is literally getting like 500,000 downloads a day.
Yeah.
For like a something like that's closer to mid-core. Isn't this the problem, that like they just have like so low CPI that like a lot of people leave anyway? So if you would just take, let's say, the people after level 10, the retention would spike to like really, really good
Yeah,
numbers.
of course. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 100%. But it's, I mean, we will never know.
Yeah, it doesn't matter in the end what's the retention if money is rolling
exactly.
in.
If they make 1.5 million a day, nobody cares. I mean, if,
like
even
Game
if you
of
have
War
like
from Machine Zone had like 14% day one, nobody cared.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And I think with that in mind, that's it for today, right?
Perfect.
Let's keep it short.
Yeah, short and sweet.
Fun, engaging, and insightful as well.
Yeah, go play
Thank you very much.
Survivor IO. Don't be lazy.
Yeah, I will do. And also, we will play, and you guys subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, because we want to see Felix in Bratislava in the near future. All right. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
See ya.